Racing Insider news with the snowman, Scott Allen. I got to explain this snow situation. I slept in an iceberg for Saturday night, but that was, what can I say?
Did we think this is just because we were at the BK Racing? This ain't Burger King. Have it your way.
I sure didn't have it my way that night. I can tell you that.
They might text somebody 3 o'clock in the morning and say, "Hey, did you get my text about turning the heat on and the fan off?" I told Rachel about that. She said, "Well, why did he get up and do it?"
Where'd all this happen?
It happened at the racetrack at the campground, and it was cold that night, especially when you have the fan on from the outside.
But you weren't that far from the track.
No, I wasn't far from the track. I wasn't far from the racetrack, and I wasn't far from the railroad track.
No, you weren't. All right, we got a couple matches, Tim, so I need to wax my head.
I've tried to tell him he needs to put a hat on.
Robin says she likes it. We're funny. Mama Testament, hi. When we come into the arena race on the 22nd. That's Richmond, Friday night. Richmond.
Oh, that's right. That's Friday night.
We're certainly going to try. I think so. I should be there. I don't know about Jack. We'll have to see if his wife lets him go.
No, I have to see if my son lets me go.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. So that's our messages so far.
All right. Good. We spent the weekend up in Martinsville. Got treated like kings up there. Basically,
we did. Thanks to Ron Devine, we learned a lot from listening to Ron.
Got to meet a lot of good people from he took us around and introduced us to, or brought over to introduce to us. It was a lot of fun. They fed us good. We got to sit on the box during the race.
That was way cool.
I mean, how much more?
I mean, it was right on the front. We were close to the front, the start-finish line. I mean, that was pretty cool.
And we're hopefully we're going to start a segment on the show within the next few weeks. We're going to do a BK Racing segment. Maybe not every week, but every week or so. I talked with Doug Fritz.
Did you?
And
Doug is now over at BK Racing. Doug was the president of Richmond International Raceway there for a while, and then he helped out. What was the other racetrack they sold to NASCAR? Iowa. Worked at Iowa for a while.
And now he's the general manager at BK Racing. So we talked, and we're going to have somebody from, we may get a driver or a crew chief or an engineer, somebody from the shop. Every so often they're going to send him, get him call in here and talk to us, and we're going to be able to ask him questions. So that's coming in the near future. Hopefully we'll get all that ironed out around Richmond and see what we can come up with there. But the racing this weekend at Martinsville had a lot of fun. The truck race, Kyle Busch ran away with the truck race pretty much, but it wasn't as cut and dried there towards the end when they started tearing everybody up.
No, but I really thought, I don't know if Kyle was sandbagging, because he didn't lead the whole race. Ben Rhodes led a lot of the first half of the race, and I thought he was going to be the guy to beat. Yeah. I don't know what happened to him on that pit stop, but he come out like 9th or 10th, and he got in the outside lane a few times. And then at the end, the bumper come off the front of the thing, and that's why I think he was like 4th or 5th. On the white flag.
And dragging the splitter.
And then went up the hill and I think ended up 12th, I believe. But I tell you what, I didn't know how aggressive Ben Rhodes was. And I know you were listening to him on the radio, and it was interesting that the crew chief, what's his name?
Kevin Belcourt.
Kevin, he's like, look, we brung our friends to the track, so you do what you got to do. And I felt it was funny. He says, look, if we get hung up on the outside, don't let such and such hold you up. He said, they ain't going to hold me up but one corner, I'm going to tell you that. and he did. And for a young guy at his age in his first year in the truck series,
I thought it was cool that Kevin, he made the comment, we're not here to make friends. We brought ours with us.
Right.
So do what you got to do.
And he tried. I mean, he did.
John Hunter Nemechek took the points lead after the race, but he made no friends either.
No, he did not. No, he did not.
He kind of pushed his way to the front, and got a little. Kyle Larson got a little upset with him. Daniel Suarez got a little upset with him. I heard there was 3 or 4 more that were not particularly fond of some of the moves he made. But one of the things we need to talk about is the Decker girls. We're in
2 out of 3 of them made the race.
2 out of 3 made the race, but they were in some equipment that probably is not the best equipment in the truck series.
They weren't prepared. Yeah. I mean, to be honest,
Paige did pretty decent in Mike Harmon's truck. I mean, she ran the whole race, did a great job. And that's what they were basically wanting to do, is get laps and make the whole race. Claire did too. Natalie did not make the race, and
I mean, she only got 8 laps of practice, I think, if that. I mean, there was very little.
I mean, they didn't even make the first practice. They're still working on the car middle way through the second practice. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was not, they were not prepared when they got to the racetrack.
But they didn't get the truck until what, Thursday? I think it was Wednesday.
Thursday. I think it was.
I don't know if it was Wednesday or Thursday. I mean, I don't know what kind of shape the truck was in, but I mean, those are just last minute deals that you get. Kyle Busch. Now, did you see the video that Kyle Busch put out
about the fan at the end of the race?
That was pretty cool. I mean, a lot of people don't get to see. They always harp on Kyle Busch for being mad. Yeah, a rowdy Busch. But honestly, the kid's a good kid. I mean, that was so cool for him to do that. The fans excited. Those things really stand out. And just because every now and then things don't go his way, and he gets mad. And I understand that. We all get mad.
His wife pointed that out.
Yes. Yeah.
She pointed out the hat, and then
they recorded it.
Well, yeah. I mean, but it was still cool that he
did that. I mean, those things went viral.
He could have easily left that alone and just not even messed with it.
Well, he was in a good mood.
Yeah, well, he had to be. He won 2 races this weekend.
But the funny thing, he just run 500 laps, and he had to drive home.
Well,
I would have thought Samantha would drive, but
well, a lot of them, they don't drive home. A lot of them I noticed the other day there was a lot of helicopters going in there more than I was expecting. For Martinsville, I mean, you're not that far from Charlotte. A lot of them like to drive up, but I guess the traffic situation makes it kind of tough on them. So I guess a lot of them do fly. But he probably.
Well, I think the ones that can afford to fly.
Well, I think Kyle could probably afford it.
Well, yeah, but I don't know where Kyle lives.
I don't either.
Yeah, I mean, I know.
I'm not even gonna try to.
Yeah, well, I know Harvick. He only lived. Well, he did. I don't know if he sold his house yet, but he only lived 45 minutes up the street.
Before we move on to Ashton Lewis, Ashton's going to be calling here in just a couple minutes. We'll talk about our picks from last week. Sorry, Clayton, you finished dead last.
Clayton's on. I mean,
he sent me a message.
I hope he doesn't ever pick me to when I'm driving again this year. I hope he doesn't pick me to win.
Well, he finished second every week until this week, and this week he finished last.
Which was a good pick, and I'm glad I let him have that pick.
Hamlin finished 39th. My driver, Earnhardt, finished 14th, and yours finished 9th.
So I won's what you're saying.
Yeah, you won again. So, anyway, end of the show tonight, we'll make our picks for Texas. I've already got Clayton's. He already sent me his, but anyway, that's the way it looks. No news on local racing tracks around here, so to speak.
There's really no news at the racetrack, to be honest. We've seen Tony Stewart walking around. I didn't see him many times, but he was there.
There wasn't anything, out of the ordinary going on like it normally is. Nobody was. We're a fly by night group here, and so we didn't see a lot of people, but we did see our buddy Al Pierce, and even though he acts like he don't know who we are, it's funny how you come to us and talk to us,
right?
But it was a good weekend.
It was fun. The race was good.
I loved the racing. I loved being at Martinsville. I loved everything about up there except sleeping. And sleeping.
Your company?
The company won't. I mean, I could deal with the company. The sleeping. The sleeping was bad. When it's 32 degrees outside and 21 inside.
I don't know what you're talking about. It wasn't that bad.
And I was in the room, done pulled the curtain, and then I done put stuff over the side of the bed. I done bundled everything I could find.
Looked like an Eskimo.
I was up under
So then
everything.
if you had all those things, how the hell did you fall out of bed?
Now, we done talked about this. That bed was not right.
I told him it was bolted to the floor. I don't know how in the hell he talking about it.
That bed was not right, man. I set up that bed. I set up and the bed did too because we both did it. That wasn't fun at all.
The trailer didn't tip well, okay.
Now, let me tell you about the trailer. It was real windy that night,
it
too.
was. It was.
And
You could feel the trailer moving.
that trailer was doing. It rocked me to sleep to start with, and then the cold woke me up.
The train did too.
Well, the train on Saturday night didn't come through but one time. Now Friday night it come through every time you turn around.
Camden Testament's going to be racing at Virginia Motor Speedway on the 16th.
Oh,
First race.
Is Mama Testament going to the race? That's the thing.
If Camden is going to the race, Mama Testament
I
is
don't know.
going to the
She says she has a hard time watching her on under in a big car in the dirt.
Well,
We'll see.
I can't imagine Mama's not going to be there.
Well, if I can get there on the 6th, well, I've also said I was going to Brinkleyville on the 16th, so I don't know. But
And then the following weekend, hopefully we'll be at Richmond.
yeah, we need to work on that too.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we're waiting on our first guest tonight. Be Ashton Lewis, former Xfinity driver, Busch Series back in the day, from the local area. He's now not in racing, but we wanted to see what he's up to these days and get his opinions on racing in the year 2016. We got Tommy Baldwin Jr. coming up for our second guest, the owner at Tommy Baldwin Racing, and talk to him about the charter and all the stuff he's got going on there. That's probably eased his mind completely. That he's for the next 9 years.
He's locked in.
He's locked in. He don't have to worry about qualifying in. And then we're going to have Sam Bass, the legendary artist of NASCAR, who does a lot of anything NASCAR needs, artist-wise, or the crews, or the teams. They pretty much
he does
call him.
90% of the stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
in the beginning, I mean, a lot of the, I believe we'll find out for sure. A lot of the trophies, I think a lot of Richmond trophies were designed by him. I know when they had the rock and roll, the fancy stuff.
He did some helmets too.
Yeah, he's done a lot of helmets. He did the guitar at the Xfinity cars ran at Nashville.
Yeah, Nashville.
He did those guitars. So pretty cool.
And here we go.
Call from 757.
Good evening and welcome to Jack Dodsons Racing Insider News. Is this Ashton?
This is Ashton.
How you doing, man? We're glad to have you on. This is Jack Dodson. I got Scott Allen with us, and we're just kind of catching up with you. We mentioned your name quite a bit, and wanted to see what you're up to these days.
Oh, not a whole lot of racing, that's for sure. But working at First Team Auto Group, that's of course the family business, and I've been working there since the family and I moved back in November of 2007. So been back for a while. I guess technically the chief operating officer, which just means I oversee the stores we have here in Hampton Roads.
Well, you got a pretty good situation there, but one of the things that when I mentioned the name Ashton Lewis comes to my mind was back I forget what year it was. It was before you left the Charlotte area. I brought my son down to Charlotte, and we went to your shop, and you and your dad sit down and talked to him about getting into racing. He wanted to get into racing, and he was talking about going to NASCAR Technical, and you guys kind of steered him away from that a little bit. He went to the Bobby Isaac school, but I'll tell you what, he's now the front-end suspension specialist on the number 24, so he listened to you very well.
I'm glad it worked out well because I was hoping the story ended well. But, no, that's fantastic. Congratulations. That's quite the organization to be involved with, and that's I was fortunate enough to get my first break down there within the Hendrick Motorsports Group, and man, it's quite impressive.
Now, Ashton, what originally got you started into racing?
I blame Elton Sawyer. My dad was helping him out when Elton was making his, I don't know if it was his first run, but he was really starting to make his breakthrough in the Busch Series.
Mm-hmm.
And Dad had a kind of a deal with us growing up that we had to find jobs in the dealership during the summer. And one summer I kind of talked him into letting me help Elton out. And Jamie Jones was there and Elton. And I tell you, it's one of the best years of my life, just traveling with those guys and going through the short tracks. And you know, this is back when you had a dually and an open trailer, and you're taking one car to a Busch race, and it was so much fun, and they just got me hooked. And you know, from there, kind of told Dad I thought it was something I wanted to kind of pursue, and he stuck with me and stuck behind me, and we had a whole lot of fun for many years, kind of trying to make a dream out of it.
Now, when you wanted to do it, you went over and raced in the Skip Barber Saab series, I think it was.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
How did that happen?
Really, when I kind of started watching the racing and getting into it, I liked the road racing, and really thought that was the direction I wanted to go, and just really enjoy. To me, that was always more fun. I tell people, if you just want to drive a car and have fun and kind of get the most out of a race car, to me that was always a lot of fun. But if you really wanted to race and go, you know, be competitive and had good side-by-side racing, stock car racing is definitely the direction. And then took me a little while to figure out that was the right path to take. But I enjoyed the road racing, even doing the stock cars.
Yeah, and you done pretty well at the road racing. I mean, it seemed like you just had a natural ability for it.
It was fun. I had a lot more laps around road courses than a lot of those guys out there. So I definitely had, I'd say, some lap time advantage over it. But I always thought driving an open wheel car on a road course was fun. That's until we went and took a stock car to Watkins Glen, and that's without a doubt, I think, the most fun that you can have on a road course.
So when you look back at your racing career, give us some of the things or some of the highlights you had in your career that that really stick in your mind.
The first one, you know, really that whole last year that we had Lewis Motorsports in 2004. That's we kind of went into that season with a good core group of guys that some of them had been there since day one when we started the team, and we kind of knew that was going to be our make or break year. Really went into that season kind of unexpectedly. That was the same time that Toyota was coming into the truck series, and we had worked and put a proposal in and really thought that we were going to get it. Had a couple of great meetings with them, and at the last second, we ended up finishing fourth in the selection of three. And really we're kind of left with, all right, what do we do now? And I had some opportunities to go and do something else, but, you know, we felt like we were too close with what we had not to kind of pursue it for another year. And we went to 2004 with the goal of, you know, we got to really perform, and we ended up finishing 8th in points and really should have won Darlington. That's the race that I'll replay in my mind 10 million times just about every day that I wake up as the one that, you know, and for it to be at Darlington, it was always a track that, you know, in my opinion, was a driver's track, and for us to take an unsponsored car with a crew of very dedicated, hardworking guys, but didn't have the manpower that other teams have, and really should have walked away with a win that day is the one accomplishment that, even finishing second, as great as that was, we were way too close to a win to be happy with it.
So that still aggravates you today?
Oh, yeah. As long as I'm breathing, that one's going to aggravate me.
Yeah.
So when you look at it there, but tell us a little bit about how. Tell us a little bit of who you went to along the way to give you some insight in racing when you were out at the racetracks. Who did you go to?
Man, Dad always had kind of the saying that people would help you along the way until you got faster than they would, and then they shut their books to you. And, you know, all the guys, you know, from when I started out at Langley Speedway, everybody from the Edward brothers to Eddie Johnson to Mike Buffkin. I mean, I could just list the names, and all those guys I hold with the utmost respect, and they're as tough to race as any of the guys I race against, in the Busch Series, and that includes the Jimmy Johnsons and the Jeff Gordons and the Greg Biffles that all came up, the same time that I did. It's very competitive, but when I really moved up into the Busch Series, they had a pretty good system for the rookies, and David Green was a returning champion, and he would always hold the rookie meetings and take us out on the tracks and kind of drive us around and tell us what to expect and to kind of prepare us as best we could. But the best thing was that Elton was still racing when I started, and Elton's the one that I always leaned on and always knew that he would steer me straight and kind of guide me in the right direction, and he was just tremendous in helping me kind of advance up and to make that switch, because it's honestly a big change when you go there.
How bad do you miss it these days now that you're not in racing anymore? How bad do you miss it, and do you get back around it a lot?
I don't get back around it a lot, believe it or not. I went with a group of guys, friends here locally, down to Daytona, and that's the first time I've been back to Daytona since I stopped. And it's tough to be around the sport, because certainly I miss it and miss the adrenaline and the competitive side of it. You can never replace that kind of competitive fire and the adrenaline rush that you get, not just from the racing and the driving part of it, but just from the excitement and kind of having that one event right then and there. And anybody that's raced, whether it's at the local level or been fortunate enough to do it at that level, they'll understand it. But I tell you, probably the thing I miss most is just the guys. We had a tremendous group of guys and best of friends, and it's a bond when you're doing that much travel and you're spending that much time together. It's you miss being around them, and we were very fortunate to have just an incredible group of hardworking, dedicated, passionate guys, and they're the ones that I miss the most.
Now, some of the guys are still in the sport that come through your race team, right?
Yeah, I like to think I had a little help along the way. I tell Tab, I gave him all the anxiety and taught him how to cuss on the radio and yell at me. But Tab was my spotter, and he was one of the first guys that came to our team. I met him when I was helping Elton on Aikens Motorsports, and he stuck with us to the end. And he was my spotter when we finished, and he continued on, and he actually has gotten him a lot of wins. He's spotting for Joey Logano now, so he won the Daytona 500 last year, and a lot of wins, throughout the season. And another one is Jamie Tursky. He does the tires on Carl Edwards, and he was the guy, as soon as we shut down, he went and got a job at Joe Gibbs and has been there with him for all the years. So he's been on Kyle Busch's teams, he's been on Denny Hamlin's teams, and now he's on Carl Edwards' teams. So, and there's a lot of other guys that, work in the shops. Mark Conley hangs bodies for Hendrick Motorsports, and Chip Davis works in the fab shop still there. He never worked for us, but he helped us out on the weekends. And Joe Pietti's another name that he, last couple of years, he taught our pit crew or coached our pit crew, and just, there's a lot of guys that are just, they do anything for you, and in return you do anything for them. And again, it's great to see them still pursuing their passion and being successful at it, because we were actually very fortunate to have them a part of our team when we were doing it.
Now, your crew chief in the Xfinity team now was your brother. What was that like being? Because I can imagine sometimes the family business, as you know, you're in a family business, can be tough working with family, and sometimes some people make it look good.
Yeah, I don't know how we made it, but it was a lot of good. And again, I think in certain situations it can be detrimental. But the thing about Charlie was he was just so talented, from his fabrication skills to his understanding and staying calm. And I was very fortunate to have him on the box and call the races. And I tell you, it's tough because when either I wrecked or he made a bad call, it's tough to yell at your brother, be mad at your brother. But at the end of the day, at the end, he always had his best intentions, and I always had best intentions at heart. And you couldn't get me so mad, and you almost, if it was a bad call, I felt worse for the bad call being made as much as I felt, it was my brother making the call, and I felt bad that he made it. It was more from the personal side of it than the end result. So it's we tried to stick where we brought somebody else in, and it didn't work out. And I think it even made us better and stronger, and made that bond that much tighter when we reverted back to our situation. And that's really when we took off that last season.
Well, Ashton, we appreciate you spending a little time with us tonight. I wanted to catch up with you, see what you were up to these days. I want to say thank you for the time that you and your dad both spent with my son down there when he was there, and steered him in the right direction. And he's become pretty successful at what he's doing, and I'm really proud of him. And I thank you for that, for the time that you spent with him to get him there.
Hey, it's my pleasure. I don't know that I had any help in doing it. Sounds like he's very talented, and you should certainly be proud of him.
Well, we are, and he listened to you guys down there, because it was one of the few places we went to that we kind of knew the people there, and it was really good that they spent some time with him and steered him in the right direction.
Well,
so
he knew who not to listen to. That was you.
Yeah, he didn't listen to me very well, but anyway. Ash.
I appreciate you having me on.
Well, we appreciate
thanks,
your time tonight, and we'll talk to you again sometime.
All right, I appreciate it. Look forward to it.
All right, man.
Thank you.
We actually talked to Ashton for a while. I mean, he's a good kid, and I can't say kid anymore. He ain't a kid anymore, but
He's got that whole Lewis organization, now. And
yeah, I mean, they had a good sponsorship for a couple years there with the someone with airplanes or something. I can't remember who it was there, and I mean, they come along at kind of the wrong time to try to get into the Busch Series. The whole TV deals were going and they weren't was it TBS, I think, or FX or whatever was doing a bunch of the races, and they didn't have a lot of viewership. So it was hard to sell sponsorship when you could get more viewers in the phone book than you could the TV deal. So it was a tough time, but I mean, they did it for a while there, and it's kind of a shame they were more successful with their own team than they were other places there.
All right, well, we're going to get Tommy Baldwin on the phone now and talk to him. Are we still doing good here?
Yeah, it just quit a minute ago for some reason. I just restarted it.
Hello?
Hello, is this Tommy?
Yeah.
How you doing? This is Jack Dodson with Jack Dodsons Racing Insider News with Scott Allen. I'm glad to have you on.
How are you, buddy?
We're doing good. Glad to have you on. It was nice to meet you up there at Martinsville. I know you were right busy, but good to see you up there. And we wanted to touch base with you about how things are going for 2016 for you guys.
Everything's going okay. We're showing ups and downs right now, trying to learn both our driver and everything that we have going on with our new cars and everything that's going on in our system. We're happy with the progress based off of our performance from last year so far, and looking forward to getting some more new PBR cars built and getting after it here at Texas and forward.
So are you guys building your own chassis now over there?
We have RCR chassis, but we're doing all our bodies in-house now.
Okay.
Now, how big was it to get Regan Smith over there to drive for you this year? You really picked up a good talent there.
Yeah, it was a pretty good bonus for us for sure. It kind of helped our leadership a little bit. His experience at all these racetracks, and he's really into it. He dissects everything that we have going on, dissects his driving, looks at everything real hard, trying to get everything better. So it's been good so far.
Now, the thing that's really really is interested in getting you on about is get your take on the charter system that came into play. How big that was for you? Because I heard you on TV and everything saying how big it was. But give it to us again about how big it is and what it means to you.
Well, I think it's just a start for a lot of building blocks to come, to be honest with you. Just had to get this in play so you can build a program. The good thing we know is over the next 9 years we'll be around, and we can build off that, tell everybody our story, and sit in the boardroom and explain that we're guaranteed in all the races, and guaranteed a certain amount of money, and it's a good thing.
Do you see that as a big stepping stone as far as getting sponsorship? I mean, that you're locked in, or do you see that as something that'll have to play out as the time goes on?
I think it's going to play out. I think as all of us, NASCAR and the team members and the charter members, and we all work together trying to build our brand as a whole, I think it's going to become a really good asset to all of us.
Now, Tommy, if I'm right, a long time ago when you were, I don't know sure if you were at Bill Davis or not, when you sort of had an opportunity or a possibility, you were sort of asked to maybe take over the crew chiefing role for Jeff, and you decided not to kind of do your own thing. What led to that decision? And do you regret it?
I don't know. I was young and stupid, I guess. I had a really good opportunity to replace Ray Abraham there. Ray was moving into a different role at Hendrick, and eventually moved to the Dodge program. And I had my contract signed to next crew chief for Jeff Gordon, and I just decided after talking with my dad and everything we had built already at Bill Davis that it might be a good idea to be able to just build what we have going on where I started and stay with that. And overall, I guess we won the Daytona 500, won some races, but who knows what we could have done together, Jeff and I. But we'll never know.
Yeah, that would have been another one of those dream team things. I think y'all would have done very well.
Yeah, I mean back then with the technology and the advancements that Hendrick already had, I thought it would have been a lot of fun, and we'd spend a lot of time in victory lane and running up front. But we had a lot of success at Bill Davis. Had a lot of good people working for us. It was a really good, solid team. I wouldn't take back all the things I learned, good and bad, to get to where I am today, for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of sad to see Bill had left the sport, to be honest.
Say that again?
So it's kind of sad to see Bill Davis leave the sport, like, when he did.
Yeah, and unfortunately he got caught. He was one of the first teams that caught with, no sponsorship in the downturn of what we all had going on. It was a bad, sad day, especially the timing of it all with all the employees and everything we had going on. But Bill had to do what he had to do to save his family and do what he had to do, and everybody ended up finding jobs and moving on eventually. But it was a very sad day. We all worked a long time there. I worked a total of 8 years at Bill Davis and for Bill and Gail. So it was kind of heartbreaking, to be honest with you.
Now, today, are you involved in the setups in the car today, or do you let the engineers and the crew chiefs do that? I mean, being that's your background.
I didn't hear what you said.
Do you still get involved with the setups in the race car?
Yeah. I'm crew chief and calling the shots on Sunday, so I'm heavily involved in what's going on with the car, with the business side. Until I can get comfortable enough of hiring, in the financial state to hire somebody that's capable of doing it like I had a couple of years, 2-3 years ago, like Bono running it. I got to just keep doing it until we can get to that point.
Now, look back on your career a little bit. Tell us how much Junie Dunleavy meant to you in your career and what you learned from him.
Yeah, well, it definitely, that was the next step of before I got to Bill Davis. The best part was working with Dick Trickle. He's the one that taught me a lot about the racing in the Cup Series and the patience and what needed to be done. And that was quite a ride with Dick. We had a lot of success. We had a lot of top fives, and the Bristols, the Rockinghams, the Atlantas, the Darlingtons, and those type of places. And we struggled at some, but with the low budget that Junie had and what we had, I thought we did a good job.
Now, when you started your own operation there with Tommy Baldwin Racing, how did you come to the decision to go ahead and just do that? Because that had to take a lot of soul searching to be able to start that.
crazy like that, I guess. It's just a situation when Bill Davis closed down. It was around Christmas time, and there's really no other jobs available, no crew chief job available. Everything was taken already, and I just went upstairs, did some budgeting, some paperwork. I came downstairs, showed my wife this piece of paper. I said, we're going to own our own team. She's like, what are you talking about? I said, yeah, we're just going to go for it. We're going to build our own cup team. She looked at me. She said, talk it, and we were off and running.
I would say I respect you for that, because you did it at probably the worst time you could possibly do it, and I know you probably don't think you've made it, but you've definitely succeeded what a lot of other people haven't been able to do.
Yeah, it's a lot of patience, a lot of had to bite my lip a lot, be humble a lot, knew where I needed to, what I needed to do just to survive, just to get to the point where I am today. It's been a slow process, sure, but I was still digging.
And you had a lot of people to come by and kind of volunteered in the beginning. I mean, that seemed like it was kind of a big thing then.
Yeah, we did. I mean, the good thing about that time is the timing of it all is a lot of people out of work, and 5 out of the 6 guys that started with me are still with me.
Oh, that's cool.
And they took a chance with me, and here we are. It's just a lot of people didn't have jobs in the beginning because of all the teams getting shut down and the things going on in our industry. So yeah, they some of them took from it.
So how many races do you have sold so far this year? Because we know you didn't have a whole lot of stuff on the car this weekend, and how many races you got to fill?
Yeah, I mean, we're okay. AB's been a really good company. They've been, filling the gaps of stuff that we don't have. But we got some good things coming. We just had the fire alarm services from here to Texas in the second race. We got Golden Crowd coming up to Talladega and Daytona, and then before you know it, Toy State gets back on the car for a while. So we're digging. We're right on our budget. We know what we got going on. So we're actually trying to focus on next year's budget and sponsors and get out there from 17 on. So
how much you got small kids, and I guess the sponsor probably works pretty good with the kids.
Yeah, they've definitely cut out everything and gone through the Toy State's gone through the system with them, and we've all come to the conclusion they make the Deco radio control cars and all the Toy State cars the products that they build. My kids have definitely tested them all, and we've decided that they got a really good product.
Tommy, how do you separate the owner side and the crew chief side and be able to keep up with everything that you need to keep up with?
The simplest thing is when I get there on Friday, I'm going to act like a crew chief and do everything I got to do to finish the best position I possibly can. And then probably at 10 o'clock on Sunday, the owner's hat comes on for a little, and we go to work, and then we get back to crew chief a little bit, back to the owner. I flip-flop a little bit. I want to spend everything I possibly can to make our race festival make sure I can pay all the bills and move forward with our company.
Well, Tommy, we appreciate your time tonight, and we wish you a lot of good luck for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Hopefully in Texas you get a good finish down there and everything will go good. And we appreciate the time you had with us, and we appreciate meeting you the other day. It was really good to see you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, we'll
Thanks,
talk
bud.
to you later. Appreciate it.
Okay, bye.
All right, we got a couple of fan things here. We give a shout out to the 1995 pit crew champions at Langley Speedway, Brent Vincent. He's over here messaging me on Facebook. We had a lot of fun. I swear, me and Brent did. He wasn't very smart. I'll tell you a story one time when we got time on the air about rolling some tires. He'll hate it, but I'll tell everybody about it. You know the story.
I know. Yeah, I know what you're talking.
He was good. He was good. He could roll some tires. And then we got a question that says, what do we think about Vickers driving for Tony?
he did an exceptional job this past weekend at Martinsville. He got I think, what was it?
He run in the top 10 most of the day. I don't know where he ended up finishing, but I know he was 8th. Well, he ran 4th there for a while. Vickers can drive. His biggest thing is, I think, is just uncertainty of health.
Yeah, and I think that's what holds him back a lot with a lot of people. But after Texas, it's up in the air as to what's going to happen with that team after that.
Brent, you don't hate me.
But it is up in the air with him after that. There's talk that he's got a shot at an Indy 500 ride.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's one of like 1 or 2 or 3 guys that are looking to get in that ride. So they never can tell who's going to get it. I don't think they've made a decision on when Tony's coming back. So
it doesn't appear to be like anytime soon.
I mean, I saw him at Martinsville this weekend. He seemed to be moving pretty decent, but that doesn't tell you how his back is or anything else. But
right,
I don't know who's going to be in the car after Texas. They haven't looked at it. Who's going to be in it? I know Ty Dillon is going to be in the 95 this weekend at Texas.
Right, and he'll be back in the 14 after that.
So,
from my understanding.
Okay, well then maybe he's going to run a couple. I hadn't heard that, but
I think all the Bass Pro Shop sponsors, Ty will be in because they have a big tie with them.
So yeah, I think he did good. I mean he's done better than I thought he was going to do in that car. And I ain't gonna say nothing else because I was gonna say something nasty and I probably shouldn't, but.
That'd be the first time ever started.
He's done a little bit better in that car this year than Tony did in the car last year. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, well, I think Tony would tell you that. I mean, for whatever reason, whatever they're doing in the 41 and the 4 is not working in the 10 and in the 14.
That's going to be an interesting situation next year when they goes to Ford.
I forgot who I asked. I asked how Clint was thinking about being in a Ford next year, and they're like, I don't know. I don't think he's real happy about it. But he ain't real happy over there in that 15 car.
No, he's got every reason in the world not to be happy over there. And believe me, I like those guys because that's the old Finch team. I know a bunch of those guys over there. We were over there talking to them the other day, and of course Brian Franklin is the engine tuner from Hendrick who goes over there, and I don't understand why that car is not doing better than this. But then I think you got the insight a little bit about the fact that the 15 and the 46 are basically a research and development situation
for Hendrick.
For Hendrick, so
Call from 7.
I guess Sam's calling us.
4,
Yeah.
7, 9, 5.
Good evening and welcome to Jack Dodsons Racing Insider News with Scott Allen. How you doing tonight, Mr. Bass?
I'm doing great. Please call me Sam.
Um,
It's nice to talk to you.
Well, we appreciate you spending some time with us tonight. You are one of the most interesting people that I know in the sport. And
Oh my goodness.
I mean, with the things you do, I mean, I'm lucky enough that I've got some of the things you've done, and I really think that you've done some wonderful things along with the teams and with NASCAR. But how did you get started in it?
Well, I tell you what, Jack and Scott, it's pretty interesting. I'd always loved artwork as a kid growing up, and I got to go to my first race. My uncles took me to Southside Speedway in Richmond, Virginia.
Right.
And visiting the track that night was Bobby Allison because he was racing across town at Richmond Fairgrounds Raceway, and he was running his late model car at Southside Speedway, and it was really amazing. I mean, I saw him out there racing. Back then, we had Lenny Pond and Sonny Hutchins and a whole bunch of great drivers that drove over at Southside. And Bobby Allison went out there and raced them, and I got to meet him after the race and everything. So I became a Bobby Allison fan, and I left there that night and told my uncles that I wanted to be a NASCAR artist. And so that was That was 47 years ago, and I've done nothing but pursue that dream since the late 60s, and I love NASCAR and racing as much today as I ever have, and I just feel really lucky to be a part of it.
So how much stuff do you do on a regular in a season? I mean, I know you do programs. You do. I mean, you do the.
It'd be easier to say what he doesn't do.
Well, it probably is. Probably would be. But
well, you know what? I mean, when I started, I started going to races and really getting credentials and everything for the racetracks in 1981, and got my garage passes and different things like that, and that's really where it all started for me. I heard you playing Eric Church's song there, Talladega, and that reminds me, I mean, that was the first track that I really traveled to and begged my way into the garage area and showed Bobby Allison a painting that I did. And while I was there, Darrell Waltrip's team came over and saw my painting, and so did Terry Labonte's team, and they commissioned me to do a piece of art. Each one of those teams commissioned me to do a piece of art for them. And so I drove back to Virginia from Talladega with a friend of mine, and I thought, wow, if I can string enough of these $35 paintings together, maybe I can make a living at this. And that's really what started it all, was that trip. And earlier that year, I had presented Bobby Allison with a painting at Richmond at his fans club banquet. So that's really what got me started and going that way. And I worked at it for about 6 years and drove back and forth to Charlotte from Virginia. And in 1987, late 1987, I got a commission from Miller Brewing Company to design Bobby Allison's car for the 1988 season. And while I was working on that car design for him for Miller Brewing Company, Bobby himself called me and asked me if I would design a car for him for the Busch Grand National Series at that time for Piper Aircraft.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so in February of 1988, I went down to Daytona to watch the race, and on Saturday, Bobby Allison drove my Piper Aircraft car to victory in the Saturday race, and then followed it up. The first time he drove it was for the 1988 Daytona 500, and won the Daytona 500, and Davey finished second. Oh. And so that was a great way to start a design career, let me tell you. And Miller subsequently asked me to design their hydroplane, their 24-hour car, their NHRA cars. I mean, it was just crazy what I got to do based on Bobby Allison winning that 1988 Daytona 500. And as a lifelong Bobby Allison fan growing up, I mean, it's like a Hollywood script. I mean, it couldn't have been any more special to me and to kind of launch my full-time career into NASCAR.
Now, what were you doing for a living before you kind of got the art stuff going?
Well, I actually went to art school at Virginia Commonwealth University and majored in fine arts, printing and painting. And I was pursuing a career as an artist with the federal government, and they had a program that I worked with for about 7-8 years, where the whole time I was going to college, I was working for the federal government in their graphic arts department, and probably would have continued a career there. But when I graduated from college, they didn't have a position open for me at the time, so I was transferred to the procurement department and spent 3 years buying electrical hardware and weapon systems.
That's a
during
far
the
cry
day.
from what you're doing now.
Yeah, exactly. But it taught me contract negotiations and everything else. So, long story short, after a few years in the procurement department, I finally had kind of strung enough things together to try, making a career full time as a graphic artist in the NASCAR arena. So finally in late 1987, when I got that commission to do the Bobby Allison car for Miller Brewing, I went into business full time and launched Sam Bass Illustration and Design, working out of my home for a few years, and then I moved here to Charlotte in 1990. And have really never looked back. I mean, it's just been an incredible career. I love it as much today as I ever have, and it's just a great. It's a dream come true for me, because I've been able to continue painting, drawing, designing, and even been able to incorporate painting not only race cars but guitars, and that's been a really cool thing for me to kind of open up some doorways into the music industry, which I love about as much as I love NASCAR. So it's been really great.
You know, Scott and I were down there in Charlotte in October for the 500 race down there, and we went over to your shop and looked around over there. You have some amazing things over there that you've dealt with certain drivers or people along the way. But one of the things that sticks in my mind, I know you had to have some kind of great relationship with Dale Earnhardt Sr. to be able to do some of the stuff you did for him.
Yeah, it is amazing. I met Dale in 1984 and got a chance to start working with him and Richard Childress when I was designing their tractor trailer hauler for Wrangler at the time. Mm-hmm. And that's when I first got introduced to Dale Earnhardt, and I mean, he just for some reason gave me the opportunity to do so many paintings and drawings of him, starting with that transport, and it continued right up until Daytona 2001, and I was so very blessed to not only be able to do work with him and for him, but to call him a friend, and it was just so amazing, the opportunities he gave me to design paintings and drawings and car designs for him, and not only for him but for his kids too. I mean, I did Dale Jr.'s designs for AC Delco, and
right.
The first couple of years, that he entered the Busch Grand National ranks. I mean, lo and behold, he goes out and wins 2 successive championships in the cars that I designed. And when Junior moved up to the Cup Series, I got to design his inaugural season and rookie year for the Budweiser number 8 car. And Junior is a great friend of mine today. I did car designs for Kelly, who runs Dale Jr.'s company now, and for Gary as well. I did a lot of stuff for him when he was driving for Fitz Bradshaw. So the Earnhardts have been incredibly special to me in my life and my career, and are all really good friends, and I'm just proud to be associated with them. But it all started with their dad.
Well, Sam, I'm going to ask you a question. I mean, you might think it's a dumb one, but how much, when you get the authorization or whatever to do these pictures or do the cars and whatever, how much of that, I mean, I know you got to get the designs out, but how many people do you have helping you do this, or is it basically all you that does it?
Well, I'm the only artist here as far as that does the paintings and the drawings and everything. I've got an assistant that helps me with the graphic designs. Her name is Ashton. She does a lot of computer work and everything to help me keep up with everything. I mean, one time, one year, I think it was, I designed like 12 cars for the year. And when you're working in the off season and you're trying to get uniforms, helmets, cars, transporters, everything else designed, that is more than one person could possibly keep up with. So I've had people that have worked with me on that, but I have done all my paintings and drawings and am heavily involved. Maybe there's people here that probably tell you too much in every design that I turn out. That's something I've always been very proud of. Is that when I sign my name to something or put my logo on something, I've been there from the beginning and worked on it every minute. So that's something that I'm very, very extremely proud of.
Sam, do you have a favorite piece that you've done?
Wow, there's so many pieces that are favorites for different reasons, but it's really I've been so blessed to be able to work with so many drivers and know them personally and them be involved in calling upon me to do works for them. Jeff Gordon, I designed for Jeff Gordon for 23 years. The whole time the original Rainbow Warrior car has got to be one of my favorites of all time because it changed the way people looked at race cars. I mean, it was just such a godsend to be able to do a design for an up-and-coming driver that was entering the NASCAR circuit and to work with a paint company like DuPont that basically told me, well, you can paint it any color you want because we'll manufacture the paint that you pick the colors of. I mean, that, and that turned into a 23-year association with Jeff, and he became such a friend and such a supporter of my work, and his career speaks for itself. I mean, if there was ever a way to come into the sport of NASCAR and do it to perfection, Jeff Gordon wrote the book on it. I mean, it was amazing, and he's still, he's got a whole another chapter he's writing right now as a commentator, and he's just doing a phenomenal job. So that would have to be one of the favorites. Of course, Bobby Allison car. I did so many cars for Dale Earnhardt. It was amazing when I designed the Wheaties car for him to see a painting I did of him in the car be printed on millions of Wheaties boxes across the United States. And that was something that was really, really special to me to not only have my artwork on a box of Wheaties cereal, but to know how much it meant to Dale that he was recognized as an athlete, not only a driver, but as an athlete. And I know that was incredibly important to him. So I've been blessed, man. This is my 35th year in the sport, working full-time at it, and I've just been overwhelmed by not only the support from the drivers and the sponsors, but the NASCAR fans themselves. I mean, they've been so kind and so supportive to me over the years and been interested in my work, and I mean, I've been incredibly blessed.
I tell you've got some very interesting stuff. I mean, I don't know how you spend any time anywhere else other than work because you have got a lot of stuff there that is unbelievable.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, I'm so disappointed. I missed you guys when you came by the gallery and everything. I welcome you to come back, and all the fans. I mean, it's totally free. I'm right across the street from Charlotte Motor Speedway, and hopefully everybody will be heading that way for the All-Star race and the goal was 600. I'm doing my, I think it's my 83rd and 84th consecutive program covers for the Speedway here, and I just am looking forward to showing off the covers for the All-Star race and the Coke 600 to all the fans that come and see me, and just welcome them to come by the gallery. It doesn't cost you anything at all. You can come in and look around, and hopefully see something you like while you're visiting here.
Oh, well, I'm not going to say it don't cost nothing, because I end up getting something when I'm there, so it does cost me something.
Well, that's your choice. Put your arm behind your back and force you by it, okay? But we have such a great time when the race fans come by and visit, and they can follow me at Sam Bass Artist, and I enjoy hanging out with them and answering questions and everything else on Twitter, and then I'm on Facebook. I saw that Scott sent me a post today, and you sent me a post earlier today, and that was really special, man. I really appreciate the reaching out and everything else, so they can find me at Sam Bass NASCAR on Facebook. And that's social media, man. I know y'all do a lot of it. It is just incredible, the people that it reaches, and it really, really spreads the word of the sport about how great NASCAR is, and I enjoy being a part of it with the fans.
Well, let me tell you something. One of the things, we sent out those things today, and we probably got more response with you than we had with anybody we've had on the show. And we had Donnie Allison last week, and a lot of people are really interested in the things you do, and I'm one of them, so I'll just let you know that now.
Well, God bless you, man. I appreciate that so much. I've had, past 2.5 years, I have really had some severe health issues. I had sepsis, which is a severe blood infection. I had it like three times in 18 months. And normally 1 out of 4 people that get it dies. And I had it 3 times in 18 months. So I'm telling you, when I tell you I'm happy to be here and just excited, to still be able to go to the racetracks and everything, like I saw you guys in Martinsville. I must have walked 8 miles Sunday.
Yeah.
That little half-mile track. I mean, you can cover some territory, but what I wanted to say was thanks to all the fans and everybody in the sport that have said prayers and wished me well and sent me cards and emails and everything else, because believe me, I heard every prayer and I welcomed every email of encouragement and everything else that was sent to me. The NASCAR fans were just the greatest, and they really, really pulled me through some hard times. So I'm feeling healthy again finally after 2.5 years, and I'm looking forward. I'll be at the 3 of the next 4 races. I'll be at Bristol and Richmond and Talladega, and I look forward to seeing all the fans out there, and I appreciate your support.
Yeah, we're going to try to be at Richmond, and we're certainly going to be at Charlotte. And now you guys sometimes have a little event during the Charlotte thing, because I know I've rode by there a few times, and there's like a live band playing or some people out there playing some guitars.
Yeah, man, we're planning all that stuff. We're putting the final touches on that now. We've got some cool stuff planned, but you're welcome anytime. We do extended hours during Charlotte race weeks. We're here late and early. I mean, I literally live here at the gallery for 2 weeks in May. I never go home. I'm here meeting with people and seeing people and everything else. I just sleep there at the gallery because it's just easier than driving home every night.
Yeah, well,
so I'm looking forward to it.
Well, definitely when we get down there for the 600, we'll definitely come by and see you for sure.
Yeah, we got to do that.
That sounds great. I'll treat you guys to lunch, okay?
Oh, hey, that sounds like a plan. I mean, I like coming around, hanging around you anyway, because I like to learn all the stuff you're doing.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool, man. Y'all are more than welcome. We'll do lunch or dinner or breakfast, whatever works out for our schedules. But I'll feed you, I promise you.
Consider that done.
Well, I got one here that he'll make sure we remember that.
All right, man. That's
All right.
great.
All right, Sam. Well, we appreciate your time tonight. I know you're a busy person. I mean, you have to be with everything you're doing. But hopefully we can get you back on here real soon, and maybe we can come down and see you too.
Well, that sounds great. You can count on that. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk with you guys tonight. I know y'all got a huge following out there and a really, really good fan base and stuff. And but more than that, you're just great people. You're really nice guys, and I enjoyed talking with you as well. So look forward to the next time, and can't wait to see you here at the gallery in May. Okay.
All right, man. Well,
Thank
we
you.
appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for the comments, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys. Take care.
Okay, now.
Bye-bye.
Man, how cool is that? I mean,
That
what
was
a super nice.
that
guy.
was a guy that I have been after for a long time to get on the show. I wanted him on. Not only the fact that he does the stuff he does. I mean, he's from here in Virginia. He's from up and around Colonial Heights area, and I've heard all the stuff about things he's done up that way with his art stuff that he does. And then now he's so big, and with all the stuff he does, I was thinking, man, this guy can't be doing all that by himself. I mean, you and I went down there and went through that place, and the stuff that he's done. I kept thinking, man, there's no way he can do it all by himself.
But I imagine he does. I mean, well, like you said, he's the only graphic designer there. I'm probably saying that wrong, Sam. I'm sorry. But I mean, we went through the shop. I mean, it's so neat to see some of his work and how he come up with it. I'm not that talented, and it's neat to see that talent come out of some people like Sam Bass, and he's done a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of stuff.
And he kept it going while he was so sick. That was what I heard him say on TV before, that even while he was sick, he was still drawing and doing the stuff he had to do. Mm-hmm. That's unbelievable.
All right, we got a few fan questions. Chuck wants to know do we think that Brian Vickers will ever be back full time?
In the right situation, possibly.
I think it's going to be very difficult with his health issues. I think he has one more shot, and this ride he's got now is going to give him a boost. And I think somebody will give him another opportunity. And Brian can drive. I mean, Brian's obviously proven he can. He can drive the new stuff. It's just I don't know what's causing the blood clots, but it's a serious health issue for him. When he's on the medication, I mean, if blood clot moves, and it can take him out of here.
But it's like you said, he may have one more shot, and if it.
Well, this boosted him, and I understand. I heard he made the comment that he got a phone, or no, actually got a text, and I don't know if it was from Tony or not, and it just said, "Are you cleared to drive, and can you be at Daytona in a few days?" And it was like yes and yes. And I'm glad to see him at the racetrack because Brian is a nice guy. He's great for the sport. He's young. Well, he's not that young, but he's still young at heart. He's very enthusiastic. He does all this crazy stuff. I mean, Red Bull was a great sponsor for him because he's the one who's jumping out of damn airplanes, and he's doing all this crazy stuff which fits up their alley. Tracy said, "It was good afternoon, guys. Sure could use some help on this late model. He's a one-man team." Tracy Ashworth.
He's a one-man. What happened to all your help, Tracy? Them nerves get the best of you when Matty was racing at South Boston last time.
And then we gotta give a shout out to Robin Sims. She does PR. She did PR for Scott. I can't say
Stencil.
So we'll give a shout out to the Daga listeners because I guess she's down there in Talladega. Wonder if we were going to be at Talladega. That her and Joey, how do you say that?
Gatina.
You
remember Joey? We had him on the show.
You did? I don't remember. I can't remember yesterday.
Okay.
Sam, who'd we have? Sam
Bass.
Oh, okay.
Not Big Mouth Billy Bass. We could Sam.
Nah, that was pretty cool. That's probably one of my favorites, to be honest. Sam is one of my favorites that we've had on the show.
No doubt. There's no doubt about that.
There's one or two other ones that I can't remember off the top of my head, but that's one of the cool ones. Crystal said that she can barely take the arena race, and she will probably be there, but it is hard for her in the background. She said, "Have a good night." I think that's it. Mm-hmm. some cool interaction. Thanks for everybody that does post a question. Anytime that we got something going, please post a question and we'll ask it.
We're gonna work. We're working with the. We're gonna have it 3 ways. We do the YouTube. We do our Ustream.
3 ways. The hell kind of stuff you running around here?
We put this show on Ustream, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Anything else you need to know?
I mean, you said 3 way, and I mean,
no. Let's don't even try this. Because you're way out of your. All
right. I might have to get a hat and leave here because people are making too many comments about
the glare. The glare is kind of bad. I keep waiting for the Cowboys and Indians to come in. Like a smoke signal out there.
And I certainly look forward to having breakfast, lunch, or dinner with Sam Bass, for sure.
All right.
That would be cool. We'll definitely have to go see Sam when we go. And we will be in Charlotte.
Yes, we
Pretty
will
sure.
We'll be in Charlotte.
Have you sent our stuff off for Charlotte
No,
yet?
I need to do that.
What are we paying you for?
Are you paying me? Well, you paid me.
I paid you this weekend. You got a free sleep. You got a free bed.
I got the bed, but I didn't get no sleep. All right, let's do our picks for this week before we go off the air. Clayton has Jimmy Johnson to start off with. So he's first because he finished last time. My pick for down there, I'm going Joey Logano.
I think we'll go with the 20. Tell you what, those Penske cars were fast this weekend. When the race first started, what did I say to you? I don't forgot all about them Penske cars.
Yeah, we didn't even think about them.
No, I mean
not at all. We didn't even put them in the.
No, not in the thought process, and I was like, uh-oh.
Well, that's the show for tonight. Pretty good show. I mean, well, pretty good. It was a great show tonight, especially with Sam Bass.
Yeah,
shout out to Baldwin.
Tommy Baldwin.
But Sam was always the guy that I wanted to get on here because after you and I went down there to that shop and we looked around in there, it just amazed me. I mean,
it's neat the stuff that spoons. There were spoons, I believe, in there. I seen somewhere. I mean, there's a little bit of everything. There's a lot of guitars and a lot of trophies and T-shirts.
And you probably got a lot of his stuff hanging on the wall in your building out there. And so, there's a lot of stuff there. I mean, he's got some involvement in some hero cards. He's got everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he is truly
we got
one of a kind.
Who do we got so far?
Next week, I know we're going to have Brandon Brown, the truck driver.
Mm-hmm. From Virginia.
From Northern Virginia. He's going to be on the show. Other than that, right now I'm still working on a couple other things. We'll see how that works out. But
Mark said wear a hat. I already said that, Mark. I already stated it. Don't need to reiterate it. Mama Testament said Jimmy Johnson's going to win this weekend.
Okay, well, we'll go for that. But all right, Mama Testament, we come up there to Saluda up to Virginia Motor Speedway to watch Camden race. We might have to come eat with you. All right, well, that's the show for tonight. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Hi, guys.